problem that's now the one a lot of people are talking about. You wouldn't have that problem if you didn't have problems with our security agencies. That's the source of that problem. There is no reason why civilians can't be defeated by our military and our mobile police. It just doesn't make sense. We also need to understand that there's also a larger problem of bigotry. The Fulani herdsmen, I even spoke to someone from the north who said, listen, we deceive ourselves if we do not know that they are being supported by some very powerful individuals and forces. So there's a problem of bigotry. There's a problem, when you talk about military rule, there's a larger problem of corruption. When you talk about the military and military rule, there's also a larger problem of the failure of our judicial system. What I'm trying to establish here is let's stop isolating problems, but let's find the connections. I think we're better equipped when we find connections, the connections between these problems, to actually address them. Another one that's difficult is to look at ourselves. This is very important, but it's not easy. I'm not a saint, and I'm not accusing anyone of anything. But I love that statement in the Bible. First take out... No. You take out the log from your eye before you take out the speck from someone else's eye. If I must condemn power abuse among northern leaders, and like a lot of my people do, I must also talk about power abuse among leaders in my own community.
Yes.
If I must talk about violent Fulani herdsmen, I must talk about the violence of kidnappers in my community. If I must talk about genocide against my people, I must talk about the crisis of child witches that once existed in my state, Akwa Ibom, where there were genocidal attacks on children. How many of you are aware of that incident? So, self-examination is extremely important. It's not an easy thing, but it's necessary. Now, let me start by speaking not just to you, but to other people who are not in this room. And this is crucial when we think of genocide. A lot of people out there must stop being hypocrites, and I'm tired of listening to these hypocrites come out and complain about Fulani herdsmen. They want attention and sympathy now that their communities are being attacked. But where were they when similar atrocities were committed against my people? They need to shut up. You see, in Nazi Germany, the Nazis claimed they were trying to create an Aryan nation made up of the perfect European. But they were happy to use the Japanese, who are not Europeans, to fight their wars. I feel nothing but empathy for the people of Benue State. It was through Benue they opened the channels by which the genocidal attack started. When they came in through Nsukka and Gakem, it was through Benue. And my brother, Dr. Unoke, can tell us about some of the killings. You know, when some people escaped from the north, it was at Jos that they were apprehended and butchered. Now, a lot of these people complaining, some of their communities were even instrumental in committing similar acts of brutality against my people. You know, what kind of unity were the people of Benue State fighting for when those with whom they supposedly fought with for unity are now butchering them? Tell me what kind of unity it was. So now, what was it? Was it Aruga? What is it, that program? Aruga, what is it? Aruga. My brother, I don't, anyway, we can add the age we want. Now they're coming to Benue and saying, and the Benue people are saying, no, we don't want you here. What's your problem with the people that you're supposedly united with? You need to stop insulting our intelligence and trying to justify the murder of our people by saying it was unity. If you want to unite with us, treat us with respect and justice. Unity will come naturally. Back then, their friends were the same Fulani they are now complaining about. And let me ask them, more recently, what have they said when pro-Biafran groups, whether it's IPOP or others, when their members, whether you agree or disagree with them, when their members were being physically assaulted and even murdered, what did they say?
Nothing.
They forget that chickens will always come home to roost. But I still have nothing but empathy for the people of Venezuela. So essentially, many of you speak, not you. Many of you speak about these issues as selfish hypocrites. Not because you care, but because the danger is now coming close to you. We must seriously condemn the violence being committed by any group. We must condemn past acts of communal violence and even call for overdue restitution. We have a right to make that decision, whether they give it to us or not. Otherwise, and I'm going to end here, many of us are going to keep asking the question, why should we unite with you or even feel sorry for you? When it comes to fighting this new enemy, after all, you were not with us when we were being viciously attacked and killed. Let that be a lesson for them. Thank you so much.
IPOB, IPOB, one family. I really thank Professor Philip Effiong. I wouldn't say junior. That's my I don't need to add to that. So what we have to do now, quickly because of time, is to ask Professor Ewa Nuki to also come and talk to us. And then when you finish, I do a quick roundup, and then we sit them down and we talk. Because if you start asking a question, I think we'll leave there till tomorrow. Yes, but let's watch the time. So please, one more round of applause for Prof. I think most of you were here yesterday. When I was scouring for those who would come and talk to us in the Genocide Exhibition, I didn't want to be in-house. I've managed to contact Prof. Philip Effiong. He said he knows somebody who's also a Biafran. I said, who's this guy? Someone, he gave me it's actually Professor Iwa Inoke. So I phoned him. He said, are you one of the IPOB people? I said, yes. Here's, I sent the flyer to him. I don't think he bothered what we wrote on it, but he says it's coming. I said, what? He has just been to Liberia for this summer. Come and sit down, sir, because I could get carried away. He has just been to Liberia to set up a school this summer. It's about to start college. And then I said, there's something about Biafra. He says, what's come? I said, are you sure? I said, yeah, I'll find a way. I said, yes, that's Biafrans. But I won't go into too much detail how he found a way. But remember, he was also accompanied by Professor Pamela. We are really, really grateful for these two people who joined Prof. Philip Epion. And I want him to say he knows how to use time. Just tell us his own version. He was in BOF, and he spoke to the person who formed BOF, who has a message for us. Is that right? Okay, so I'm going to stop talking, give him the mic, and after that, we'll quickly song. Thank you,
My name is Mbonya Bakalik. Coach. I bring you greetings. I was a member, I am a surviving member of the Biafra Organization of Freedom Fighters. When AGK Aganya returned on vacation in Biafra, His Excellency, our leader, Chukwemeka Odumegwu Chukwu, invited him to the State House, Government House, and said to him, this war is not going as we planned it, because Abakaliki has fallen. So Biafra started to starve. The fighting soldiers had no more food, because Abakaliki was the food basket of the eastern region. Nigeria, in fact. That's how BOF was founded. To train soldiers, boys and girls, who would stay when the Nigerian soldiers conquer any area. We are still at the back. So the Nigerian soldiers owned the roads where they conquered, but most of 99% of our people in the conquered areas, we were with them and they were for Biafra. So we fought behind the enemy lines. But before I go into more details, let me just inform you that I live at the state of Kansas. I'm the chair of the Political Science Department and Pre-Law Programs of Kansas City, Kansas Community College. I got my PhD from Howard University, Washington, D.C. I'm a lion. Some of you here are going to see.
Yeah, you're right.
Can you show your hands? Any lion here?
Yeah.
Well, look at this guy.
Yes.
I'm lioness.
Lioness.
Lionesses.
Yes.
So briefly, can you give me, let me just pre-warn you that in the United States you're given 1 hour to speak, but you speak between 7 to 15 minutes. And then the rest is question time. If not, you get people exhausted. And it's like committing a sin to read your papers. Because most of the people you're talking to can read and write. So we can learn from each other really what we're doing in the United States and learn from you what you're doing here. I'm not condemning anybody, but that's just sharing ideas. So let me make brief announcements quickly. Onwamibe, I want you people not to forget his story. Why people like us who were houseboys in Lagos, who were hawkers, when we returned to Biafra, we went to government house and said, why did we say that? It was because two things happened. On one occasion, the train returning to the east from Jos, from Muguausa, carried a headless body. This headless body belonged to Onwamibe. Onwu Onwami. He ran from Kano, Kaduna, and when he reached in the train at Jos, the thief people dragged him out and beheaded him. They took his head till today and left his trunk in the train and said, go and show this body to Juku. That's how we took Nyamiri. So I want us to remember, we've done so many books. You have what we call Igbo Association of Igbo Studies or something like that. And Philip and I have attended several meetings in Washington, D.C., Marquette University, presenting papers. There were people who came from Australia who talked about the PhD holder from Australian University who heard the Biafran story when he was 7 years old. And because of that, he did his PhD on Biafra. He attended that conference. A young lady with PhD also from Ireland also attended because she said each time she did not eat her food, the mother would say, eat your food before you look like a Biafran child. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. That's what we want. So I don't want us to forget these things. One thing I have not told you is that I'm one of the 14 members, advisory members of the U.S. Civil Rights Committee. So we are 14 of us who advise the government of Kansas State on civil rights issues. So because of this, while pursuing my doctoral studies at Washington, D.C., there was a case in Nigeria. You must have heard it about Amina Powell. Sorry. Amina Lawal. Amina Lawal slept with him, an Hausa man. Sorry, Philip, I don't know who is Sao. So, the irony is that they condemned the woman for committing adultery. Yeah, Sharia law. And then they left the man alone because you have to produce 4 Muslim men to give testimony. So, I got 4 men. Yes, so they can show witness in the court.